is remote, right?
Mm-hmm.
She helped me connect with some people out of DC.
Good evening and welcome to a regularly scheduled meeting of the City of Hartford Common Council. All proper notices were sent. I'd ask if you could please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance as we call this meeting to order. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'm the only one this year that wore a festive tie. Jeez.
I got a festive shirt.
You do. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, there we go. Okay, all the mayors and former mayors.
Yes. What do you want?
Okay, roll call. Shanna?
The mayor and alderpersons are present, except Alderperson Kohler and Alderperson Regan, who are absent and excused.
Thank you very much. We have before us a unanimous consent agenda.
I would move to approve.
Move to approve by President Rusniak, second by Alderperson Turchi.
Motion by Alderperson Rusniak, seconded by Alderperson Turchi, approving the following items on the unanimous consent agenda: the Common Council minutes of November 26, 2024, approving the purchase of the Takuchi TB 235-2 compact excavator from Kelby Brothers Equipment for a cost not to exceed $63,490, and the purchase of a 22-foot tilt bed equipment trailer from B&B Trailers for a cost not to exceed $21,028, approving the proposal from Hartford Pro Painting LLC to paint the exterior of the utility building for a cost not to exceed $41,500, approving the proposal from Ewald Automotive Group for the purchase of a 2025 Chevrolet Silverado 3500 HD four-wheel drive pickup truck with a fiberglass service body at a cost not to exceed $83,802.50, accepting the quote in the amount of $34,078 from Safe Slide Restoration for repainting of the 2 Veterans Memorial Aquatic Center slides exterior, authorizing appropriate city officials to transfer the hangar land lease for hangar number 48 at the Hartford Municipal Airport from David Courtney to Daryl Pressure of Rubicon, Wisconsin by assignment of lease, and authorizing appropriate city officials to renew the following airport hangar land leases for another 20-year term starting January 1st, 2025 through December 31st, 2045 at the Hartford Municipal Airport for hangar lot numbers 8, 9, 12, 14, and 16. That's it.
I like that.
Well done.
Yes, well done. Any comments, questions, concerns? I do have a comment in the fact that I've got to get into the water slide painting business. Wow. Mm-hmm. So for 2 slides, not bad. Okay, hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Thank you. Communications, Shanna.
So I'm going to tell you who currently has filed paperwork or taken paperwork out. For the mayor's position, papers have been taken out on December 3rd, 2024 by Todd Boltman. Papers were taken out on December 10th, 2024 by Terrence Perfect. Neither one of them have filed their paperwork. So far, nobody has pulled paperwork for First District Alderperson. Papers were taken out December 2nd, 2024 by Wayne Rusniak for 2nd District Alderperson. Those papers have not been filed. So far, nobody has pulled paperwork for 3rd District Alderperson. And on December 9th, 2024, the mayor, Timothy C. Mahalik, filed his non-candidacy paperwork. And just a reminder that if anyone else wants to file non-candidacy paperwork, you have until December 27th, 2024 at 5 p.m. And if anyone wants to pull nomination paperwork and file it, it needs to be filed by January 7th, 2025 at 5 p.m.
I do want to note, and Shanna, correct me if I'm wrong, but you actually, technically do not have to pull paperwork. You just have to turn it in at the correct time because you can do it all online, correct?
you could pull it online.
Right.
I mean, I guess if you'd file it, you're saying file it like by email?
No, not file it, but if you want to
could
run
pull
for
it,
an office.
yeah, right,
you can pull
it needs to
fill
be
out.
filed,
Right,
that's the
get
main
signatures,
thing.
but the
Correct.
filing date is
Correct.
still in January. But,
Correct.
so somebody could be, if you will, surreptitious and file. I don't know why they would want to, but they certainly could do that.
Yes.
Thank you very
And
much.
just a reminder, if you are planning on taking out papers and there's a specified amount of signatures you need to get in support, please make sure to get plenty of names, including more than you need, just in case some of them are not actually legitimate or readable.
Thank you very much. Okay, with that, appearances and citizen comments. Anybody in the city of Hartford wishing to come up, please state your name and address, and you get 3 glorious minutes.
Good evening. My name is William Gentle. I represent HomePath Financial and Stepping Stone Homes. We have an amendment for a preliminary plat for Harvest Creek on the docket for today. We are changing some of our duplex fee simple product into single family product. It's a more desirable product. We think will be better for the community. And we support this.
Okay, could you state your name again, please?
My name is William Gentle.
William, okay. I was just asking, in case if you're going to be staying for that part, if a question would come up, I'd probably clear you the ability to answer a question we might not be able to answer. So thank you very much. Any other comments? Please come up, state your name and address, and you get 3 glorious minutes.
Good evening. I'm Nathan Jakevich, address 1671 Kelly Jean Court. We are I'm here representing A&M Contracting. We have a preliminary plat approval for Partridge Hollow Phase 4. Just looking to expand the residential offerings here in Hartford, and we support this new expansion.
Wonderful, thank you very much. Anyone else? Anyone else? Okay, hearing none. We go to the mayor's report. I do have a slide here. Let's see if it comes up. Got it?
Pretty exciting so far.
Yeah, boy. Wait, they got you Senate, you should be the mayor. Okay, I just wanted to put up the person, the CEO of Alcom, which is Triton Trailers, if we can get that up there. Thank you. Alcom purchased Triton Trailers from the Priesthood family, did a wonderful job of founding and running Triton Trailers for many years. I'm putting this up because Larry sent me a letter addressed to the mayor the day that he announced to his employees that they were shutting it down and moving Triton Trailers out of Hartford. Interestingly enough, it was delivered the day after. Spent $32 to get it 8 blocks from where he was to where I live from Triton Trailers. And at the bottom of the paragraph stated that if I had any questions, comments, concerns, I was more than welcome to call him. Well, after multiple messages, he has never returned my call. So I wanted to leave it up here. I wanted to make sure that the folks in Hartford might be able to ask him any questions. So if you could, very politely, professionally, if anybody else would like to try and give him a call and see if he returns a telephone call or maybe email him, that would be a wonderful thing. You can see the address there, phone number 260-349-5232 or lcolstock, C-O-L-S-T-O-C-K, at Alcom, ALCOMUSA.com. I'm sure he had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I can't necessarily vouch for I believe it's 116 people that are going to be out of work. Interestingly enough, he did call the city and ask for the police to be there, as I understand, and we have the police chief nodding his head, on the day that the announcement was made, which is how I found out about it and only got the letter the next day because it was expressed to me on the day they did it, which means, of course, I had no recourse or was able to speak to him at the time, and he has not bothered to return my telephone call. So please, as you're celebrating this holiday, pray for those who are going to be without work at the beginning of January from Triton Trailers. I really wanted to try and find out, now that we have a new administration in Washington and we see reports now that spending has actually gone up because of the optimism that is now flourishing in the United States as to the potential to have a really strong economy. So things like all trailers would actually pick up. It might have been a good idea to hold off on this decision and see what, or at least talk to the city. I don't know that we could have done anything, but it would have been nice to have a bite at that apple, or a swing at the bat, if you want to use a sports terminology, to see what we could have done to maintain what we all thought as a wonderful company here right in Hartford. So if you want to talk to Larry about it, there's his contact information, and hopefully he will be more courteous as regards to returning phone calls, or if you want to send him an email, again, please be polite, please be forthright, and let's let him know that Hartford was and still is very interested in having Triton Trailers, if there's any possibility, remain in the city of Hartford. That's what I got.
His email is actually L. Colstock with an E in there. It's actually like L, then his last name.
Right.
I think it's misspelled on that slide.
Oh. Let's see. You are correct. It is L. Colstock, Colestock. So first letter L and then Colstock.
So you believe there should have been E here?
Yeah, it should be his last name.
So, no worries. If you have any problem getting through as regards to the, it does have an E. C-O-L,
No, I think
unless
he just added the E.
Oh, good, okay, well, there it is. Thank you. Otherwise, you can just contact our city administrator, and he will be more than happy to help you with the email address, as he just did now, lcolstock@elcomusa.com. So thank you very much for that. With that, Aldermanic requests, President Resnick.
Well, this is our last meeting of the year, so I
Yes, it
wish all
is.
you guys and gals Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and everybody out in the vast audience out there,
Correct.
happy holidays to everyone.
Thank you.
I'd like to ditto that as well. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas to everyone, and Happy New Year. Just stay safe out on the roads if you're traveling.
You bet. Alderperson Curley.
Blessed and safe, happy holiday season to all. Merry Christmas. I brought our decorations down.
Yeah, we
Oh,
got
yes.
tons of
We can all
Christmas
get
trees.
together.
Absolutely. Wow, I'll
Sing
tell you,
Old
that's,
Tannenbaum later on.
It was 10 feet tall, but due to budget cuts,
Yeah, I know. Well, I forgot my elf on a shelf. I was going to set it there. Alderperson Webb.
Same thing. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays.
Okay. Alderperson Turchi.
Why not? Merry Christmas to all.
Alderperson Savage.
I need to say the same. Merry Christmas to everyone.
Super. And Alderperson Fulop.
They said it all.
Alrighty. With that, we go to standing committee reports, finance and personnel. Chairman Rosniak.
All right, 3 items for discussion tonight. Number 1, discussion and consideration of authorizing the appropriate city officials to hire an additional officer for the Hartford Police Department on or after January 1st, 2025, facilitating the promotion of a qualified individual to the position of Detective Sergeant. Detective Thickens is with us tonight.
Good evening. There should be an executive summary that was included regarding this request. And I want to rehash that, but we've had the same structure as far as investigations for the police department since 2006. We've had 2 detectives during that time. Obviously, in that time, our population has increased. Also, the volume and complexity of cases that our detectives are handling has increased significantly. The types of cases have changed. The technology has changed and made it more consuming and for investigations. We're handling fraud cases that are complex. We're handling internet crimes against children. Pretty much every case that we handle, or significant number of the cases we handle, involve forensics on a cell phone. So the volume has increased significantly, and we need additional support in investigations, and that would be the purpose of the detective sergeant. would be a working sergeant, so he would handle administrative duties, but would also handle part of that caseload. So it would give us additional staffing for that. It would also affect the span of control. Currently, I oversee the detectives and the evidence custodian as part of my duties. Creating this position would allow for a smaller span of control for me and allow a greater focus for that sergeant to oversee the investigations of our detectives.
Chief?
So I'm here to talk about the fiscal side of things. It's a little vague in the executive summary. I apologize for that. If you've been following us for the year 2023 and 2024, you know that our operations have changed. Our dispatch center is no longer there. It's merged with the Washington County Sheriff's Department. And as we look forward into the future, 2025 and beyond, we can see through all the growth that's happening in the city of Hartford, some of which I think a couple of people talked about tonight, we're going to need more personnel as time goes on. And as Captain Thicken said, the complexity of these cases is changing. And so as we look forward, this is one of those moves that we're going to make to increase the staffing in that area, which is sorely needed at this point. But it's helped along by some of the changes we've made in operations, that being the dispatch center. So some of those expenditures that we would have had in those areas, we're able to repurpose into this growth, as well as some other growth. And we've been able to do this all while being able to present the city, as far as our law enforcement budget, with a 1.71 increase under the 3% cap. So we're able to do all these things in 2025 with the approval that's already gone through for the current budget at far less than we probably could have made it, and it met all of our needs at the time. So this is one of those incremental moves for us, because we, I think, appreciate doing this versus putting a referendum out there and asking people for lots of money for lots of people.
All right, questions or comments for either one of these gentlemen? If not, back to you, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Okay, for the consideration to hire an additional officer for the Hartford Police Department, Alderperson Curley, second by Alderperson Garza.
Motion by Alderperson Curley, seconded by Alderperson Garza, authorizing the appropriate city officials to hire an additional officer for the Hartford Police Department on or after January 1st, 2025, facilitating the promotion of a qualified individual to the position of Detective Sergeant.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Chairman Rusniak.
All right, item 2, discussion and consideration of writing off $775.65 in uncollectible personal property taxes for the year 2023. Steve?
Yeah, so again, personal property taxes are applied to those individuals with businesses. And again, as you know, again, that's one of the things that are going to be coming to an end in the very near future. But from 2022, 2023, we've had a couple of businesses that had personal property taxes that were no longer able to be collected under the normal means. And because of that, every year we do this, we go through the personal property taxes, and by the request of our auditor, it is decided that, again, it is unlikely or less than likely to be able to collect that in the foreseeable future. So they recommend, again, that we write off any uncollectible personal property taxes at this time. Again, I'll remind you, this does not mean that we will stop collecting or attempting to collect that. But again, it is a situation in which the likelihood of us being able to collect that is minimal. So again, those who have been around long, you remember years and we were writing off $12,000, $20,000, $30,000 in personal property taxes from businesses. So the fact that we're sitting here with only a $775 is a pretty good year for us. Again, we know we're going to see this come to an end in the future because we don't have personal property taxes businesses in the future. So that is a request of the staff. Again, under the requirements of our audit, again, the recommendation is to write off the $775.
Questions, comments for Steve? Pretty normal procedure, so. Back to you, Mayor.
Thank you. Okay, to write off $775.65 in uncollectible personal property taxes, Alderperson Turchie, Alderperson Webb.
Motion by Alderperson Turchi, seconded by Alderperson Webb, approving the writing off of $775.65 in uncollectible personal property taxes for the year 2023.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Chairman Rusniak.
Item 3, discussion and consideration of carrying forward $259,000 for unexpended general fund projects. Steve?
Yeah, so again, every year we do this. This is money that, again, we had put aside through the general fund for capital projects primarily, were not able to be done in the year in which we originally budgeted for. And so we're asking to carry that forward to the following year to be able to be used then. The examples, the 5 examples we have is asphalt projects carrying forward $100,000. Projects were bid out too late this year and resulted in too high of bids. That's what normally happens if we can't bid it out until probably the 3rd to 4th quarter. So we're postponing that to 2025. We'll rebid it and hope to get better bids in the winter of this year for a spring installation. Seal coating projects, again, $25,000 there. That was not able to be bid out in time, and again, we'll be bidding that out in winter for spring. Curb and gutter carry forward for $60,000 to be used in the East Jackson Street project. Again, that will be the alleyway area. The sidewalk projects will carry forward $25,000 for unexpected sidewalk repairs, and also Independence Park landfill monitoring. We have 2 bills a year, $20,000 each. The second monitoring session didn't happen till late. We did not get the bill, will not get the bill until probably into January or February, and so we're carrying that money over to pay the bill for 2024 monitoring. Again, as a reminder that the landfill is monitored twice a year to watch for any infiltration of contaminants that are underground and moving in the different direction. Any questions? If not, Mayor?
Back to you, Mayor.
Thank you very much. For the carry forward of $259,000 in unexpended general fund projects. Alderperson Webb, Alderperson Turchi.
Motion by Alderperson Webb, seconded by Alderperson Turchi, approving the carrying forward of $259,000 for unexpended general fund projects.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Skipping Public Works and Utilities with no items. We go to the item number 10, resolutions and possible action thereon. Looking at resolution number 3705, resolution to increase the 2025 Hartford City Taxi passenger fare for in-city trips. Randy.
Yes, we are proposing a 25-cent fare increase for the year 2025. This is the first fare increase we've had since 2023. That's kind of the cycle we go on every 3rd year. We'll do an increase. The increase is to offset any costs that we're incurring for our taxi ridership.
What is the estimate for increased revenue based on our 2024 ridership or 2023 ridership, if you want to put it on it?
Well, a ride itself actually costs approximately $16 per ride, and that's including staffing, repairs, fuel, wear and tear, et cetera, on the vehicles. So we're basing it off of that number, and obviously.
Okay. No, I apologize. Maybe my question was either misunderstood or misstated. How much revenue do we estimate it's going to raise to bump it up by 25 cents?
Roughly $65,000.
65,000?
65,000.
Right.
Yep. Wow, that's a lot for 25-cent increase. Okay.
We'll take it.
Yeah, hey, I didn't realize, that just seems a lot. I didn't realize, because that would be.
That's the total. That's what it would be. That's not what we're raising by utilizing the quarter.
Okay, so
sorry,
let me state the question again. If we take 25 cents times the estimated number of trips that we're going to take, do we have a dollar amount that the increase will add to the city coffers?
I do not have that number in front of me. I would have to do the math from the previous budget, so I do apologize for that.
Okay, no worries. Just wanted to know, I'd be curious if you could just let me know. I'm just curious as to, we're raising it 25 cents. That's a very, what I consider acceptable sum. That's not going to break the bank for anybody, just how much money it would raise, so,
Understood. I can certainly get that to you.
Super, thank you very much. Okay, with that, yes, go ahead, Alderperson Turchy.
Is 25 cents enough?
That's traditionally what we do. I mean, the majority of our costs for tax year offset by state grants, state support. So it's usually around, I want to say, an 80-20, where the city's contributing to the cost. So, yes, we don't want to gouge our riders. A lot of our riders are senior citizens, those that can't utilize their own vehicles and whatnot. So we do these increments every 3 years to kind of keep pace. So we think it's a fair raise.
Super, thank you. Anybody else? If not, would look for action.
Mayor, can I, just to answer your question, the number would be, you're increasing a total of $3,600 in total fare revenue by increasing a quarter.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate that. And then again, you say that's 80% with grants and state federal funding, and we're kicking the 20 in. So, we're only having to bump up on our 20%. So that seems like legitimate, and hopefully now fuel prices will come back down and drill, baby, drill. Okay, and with that, would look for a motion to approve. Alderperson Savage, second by Alderperson Curley. Thank you.
Motion by Alderperson Savage, seconded by Alderperson Curley for the adoption of proposed resolution number 3705.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Super. Next, we have Resolution 3706, a preliminary resolution levying weights and measures assessments for the period of July 2023 through June of 2024. This is one of those perfunctory type of things, but do we have anybody from staff that takes that?
I'll take it.
Okay, thank you, Shanna.
So this is a yearly resolution. This is just a preliminary one. Basically, the annual budget calls for the assessment of costs associated with the state mandated inspections performed by the Department of Agriculture, Trade and Consumer Protection. So this resolution allows the city at a future date, which will be the first council meeting in January when the final resolution hits, we will collect the assessments for the weight and measures inspections that were performed for the period of July 2023 through June 2024. Our costs for this are $3,750 for that period. So like I said, in January, we will look to adopt the final resolution and send out the special assessments for those amounts based on what businesses were inspected and then what inspections were held at those businesses. So this is just preliminary to allow me to do that.
Okay, thank you very much for the preliminary resolution. Alderperson Turchy, Alderperson Webb.
Motion by Alderperson Turchy, seconded by Alderperson Webb for the adoption of proposed resolution number 3706.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Resolution 10C, which is, actually, it's item 10C, resolution number 3708. Right. See, resolution approving the reapplication of a preliminary plat of our friends at Partridge Hollow Subdivision Phase 4. And with that, we've got Jacob Moss, our city planner, to go over that. You have 3 glorious minutes.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor. I'll try to keep it in 3 minutes. All right. So A&N Contracting, they spoke a little earlier. They're looking to continue the development of Partridge Hollow. Partridge Hollow was actually began in 2002 with the last phase being completed or platted, final plat in 2005. Our subdivision code gives you 24 months. Obviously, 24 months has passed since 2005. So they're reapplying. Nothing has changed on the plat. They're still doing the 27 houses that were originally platted. Again, for all those out there, Partridge Hollow is right along North Main Street here. Yellowstone subdivision out here, and then the rest of the the Partridge Hollow subdivision to the south of it. There is a stormwater pond on there, and we're working with the developer to get the stormwater agreement all back up to date. Nothing too major on that. You do have the staff comments in your packet for the executive summary. We want that included with the resolution as Exhibit A. Again, this is how the plat is laid out. We'll be connecting Mulberry Street and Center Street, and then Center Street will continue to the north for any future expansion. But again, it's 27 single-family detached units.
Super, thank you. Any questions, comments as regards to this? Go ahead, Alderperson Turchy.
Just comment, the subdivision across is Borland Farms.
Borland Farms.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There's Yellowstone Street in
Okay.
Borland Farms.
Alderperson Fulop.
Can you go back one slide? Is that a retention pond there already for some other means, or is that just what was resulting from the previous?
It was part of there is a stormwater plan for Partridge Hollow. This pond is one of the stormwater ponds for Partridge Hollow that was included in the development of the subdivision.
And the land right to the north of that,
Yes.
whose land is that?
I believe that's actually in the town of Hartford. I do not know whose property that is.
That's Deckers.
Langen-Neckers.
Yeah, when we had a township meeting a while ago, he had concerns about water flowage. Is any of this going to impact his concerns with respect to how the water flows?
And that is why we're re-reviewing the stormwater plan from when they did it in 2002. Again, there might be some minor things that need to be done, but for the most part, it's staying within the guidelines from when this was developed. And we're not anticipating any stormwater issues with this property coming off onto Langen-Neckers.
We had an action a while ago, Steve, when we had the township people here as well as others that had concerns about the area that we're developing in that space. And one of the actions was to go and have a look at the complaints he had about water flowage on his property. Did we resolve that with him, or where are we at?
Yeah, so our interim engineer, Joe DeYoung, has been in conversations with him regarding some solutions to what he deems as being issues of not only of the subdivision to the east, but also from Partridge Hollow. So yes, they are working on those.
And that study will encompass all of that?
For this subdivision, it would just cover this subdivision, and they'd probably look at the surrounding basins. But the major concern was Newman Farms, or the Neville property, which will be Copper Trails subdivision, and that
was his major concern on the other side?
Yeah, that was the Copper Trails one.
Thank you. Nothing else.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, I just love all those mosquito breeding ponds that we're forced to put up all over the city. Just, okay, with my commentary there.
Alderperson Webb, did you have
Go
something?
ahead, please.
The Center Street runs up to the top of there?
Yep.
What exactly is happening there if there's nothing to the north?
When you're planning out a city, you always want to extend your streets just in case you expand to the north. So if that ever annexes into the city, we don't want to landlock that from the south. So we're allowing it to have an easement, well, not an easement, but actual right-of-way going up to that property line. So any future street development can go to the north for traffic.
Yeah, if you look at any of the subdivisions that we have on the edge of the community, example, Rattler Farms, they have two inlets that go to the west, because that's the most west subdivision that we have. So again, that's pretty common that if you're on the edge of the city that you allow road inlets there. What they end up being is just a grassed area, and people will mow it and keep it up, and kids will play in it and things like that. But when they do need it, to extend a road, that will be the area in which has been set aside just for that purpose.
An inexpensive park.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
green space.
That's right. Okay. If we don't have any other comments, questions, looking for a motion for Resolution 3708 to approve the reapplication of the preliminary plat for Partridge Hollow subdivision. Dean? Dean, the motion, second by Alderperson Turchy.
Motion by Alderperson Curley, seconded by Alderperson Turchy for the adoption of proposed resolution number 3708.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Item 10D, Resolution 3709, a resolution approving the First Amendment of the preliminary plat of Harvest Creek subdivision. Well, we're approving the First Amendment. All right.
Very true. So Harvest Creek, it's located again along County Trunk Highway K. That structure to the north of these two parcels is the Town Hall of Hartford. And then to the south is the Autumn Ridge subdivision. This was the prior version that was approved earlier this year. Again, you can see that one cul-de-sac is all the single-family attached duplex-style fee simple homes. It has now been modified, that cul-de-sac, to simple, just detached single-family homes. It's reduced the density down to 41. They were at around 50 dwelling units prior. But again, the markets do change. And again, the other ones do provide a buffer because, again, you have that high-density condominium, Hartford Square condominium complex, which is high density. So it kind of does create a buffer to that from the single families. So again, we're looking for this resolution to be approved, and again, we have staff comments that should go with this resolution.
Okay. With that, would look for an action for Resolution 3709, approving the First Amendment to the preliminary plat of Harvest Creek subdivision. Alderperson Turchi, Alderperson Savage.
Motion by Alderperson Turchi, seconded by Alderperson Savage for the adoption of proposed resolution number 3709.
Any further discussion?
One question.
Yes, please, go
Justin, we're okay with stormwater management out there? That's taken care of?
It's a continuing discussion. It's taken a lot longer than what the developer and the city would have liked, but there's a continued discussion, and we are coming up with a solution that will greatly reduce any concerns for future stormwater runoff onto adjacent properties.
Just as a kind of a addition onto what Jacob said, we are looking at a very holistic area of stormwater, not only in this area, but across Highway K in the Hartford Square 1 and 2 areas that leads up to West Side Park, or I'm sorry, East
Side Park, or no?
Eastwood Park? Westwood Park? Eastwood, I was going to get to that. Eastwood Park, but taking a look at the entire subdivision over there and how that is impacting this area. And so, again, Joe is taking a look at the entire area and just doing modeling as to how the water is running and where it's going to, the size of the inlets and outlets, the pipes underneath that are basically transferring that water. And again, taking a look at the entire area for possible solutions in 2025.
And if you look at the engineering comments, we are taking easements over the easements for the 30-inch stormwater pipes just because that's massive infrastructure that we don't want to put on the residents of this, that the city will be maintaining to help navigate or to help with the stormwater issues out there.
Thank you.
Justin, go ahead, please.
There's a note in here that that there's and now I've lost my place. That there's wetland disturbance, like that's identified on the plans. Where is that?
It's this red area right here is where the entrance to, so the extension of Patton Drive. So they will have to go through the DNR to get an exemption to or mitigate through the flood, or not the floodplain, but through the wetlands.
Okay.
Okay. So we're looking then for a motion for which one now?
I think there was a motion.
There was, we have a motion and a second, right, okay,
Correct.
thank you, and just had the discussion here after the fact. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried, okay. Going through the ordinances, this is a first reading and possible action thereon for 1499, an ordinance amending Chapter 42 of the Municipal Code relating to cemetery internment fees. And,
Yes.
Randy, go ahead.
Real simply, cemetery interment fees, we're looking for a cost increase of about of $25 for the 2025 budget. This includes various burials, weekday, weekend for adults, children, infant, and cremation burials.
Okay, so we don't get an 80/20 for that, do
We
we?
do not get an 80/20 for that.
Okay. Thank
Just a reminder that all of our fees, fines, forfeitures are on one part of the city ordinances. And so once a year, the individual department heads will take a look at what they're charging for fees, fines, and forfeitures, and then take a look at what everybody else is charging for the same, and make sure we're keeping up to pace. And so this year, all we have is this increase along with the taxi increase to present to you the changes to that ordinance.
Okay, if there are no questions, this seems to be a little bit more perfunctory unless anybody has heartburn about $25 more. I would look for a motion to suspend the rules for immediate consideration. Alderperson Webb, Alderperson Fulham.
Motion by Alderperson Webb, seconded by Alderperson Fulop to suspend the rules for immediate consideration of proposed ordinance number 1499.
For immediate consideration, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Now, for moving forward with ordinance number 1499, Alderperson Curley, Alderperson Fulham.
Motion by Alderperson Curley, seconded by Alderperson Fulop for the adoption of proposed ordinance number 1499.
All those in favor for the passage of 1499 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Thank you. At this time, we go to the city administrator's report. We have a presentation by our one and only Jacob Moss, city planner, for the new City of Hartford zoning code. I'm not kidding with 3 glorious minutes this time.
Yeah, and I'm going to start page 1 and just read. No, so yeah, 4 hours later. So we're moving forward with our new zoning code. We're looking to bring it to you for a public hearing and the first reading on the January 14th meeting. This is just informational so that you can go back and review it. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. We're open to amendments at this point in time. Again, it's just this is a presentation on how we're moving forward. For the most part, what really guides us is this first map. This is our official zoning map of the city of Hartford. It's pretty hard to see here. But again, the major changes to this is in this kind of the downtown area. It's that really dark, it's darkish black, yellow area where the downtown is. That's the original platted area of the city of Hartford. That area will become our CC1, which is mixed residential historic lots. Again, we created this area just so we don't have to run into legal or non-conforming lots. It's to reduce because once you hit legal non-conforming status, once you make alterations to it and stuff like that, it becomes pretty tough for property owners to make changes to their property. So we're trying to alleviate that. And then we have the downtown CC2, which is the downtown transition, which is kind of our commercial corridor near the downtown. And then our CC3 downtown core, which is our actual downtown. So these are the major changes to that allows us to kind of maintain the natural and historic characteristics of our core city, and then pretty much all the other zoning districts pretty much follow along with the old zoning code. We do have R8, which replaces the MXD zoning code, and then that's about it for that. For those, I'll be sending out a link actually to the map for you guys to review and the website for you guys to go through it, so you can click on parcels, see what it's zoned as, what the uses are, and what's allowed. You can see the airport up above, which brings us to the airport zoning map, which is a separate map here. We had a grant to redo our airport zoning code. This is the result of that process. If you look at the map, that one more yellowish beige triangle, or not triangle, square, rectangle, is Zone 2. Zone 2 covers some of our newer subdivisions coming in. Originally, the language had you couldn't put stormwater retention ponds or detention ponds in there. We worked with the Wisconsin Department of Transportation Bureau of Aeronautics to get a change to create an exception for stormwater ponds. Otherwise, you're pretty much limiting your subdivision development in that zone. So now, instead of not being able to do it, it just has to get reviewed by an airport biologist to make sure that what's coming out of that stormwater pond is going to impact air traffic. So
Where do you find an airport biologist? Is that a state position?
yeah, I believe it is, yes. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. There are not many of them running around.
I would imagine.
And then on to the next one is our shoreline zoning map. That's pretty much our floodplains and areas along the river. Again, these are overlay districts. We also have a wellhead overlay district as part of the zoning code. One of the more robust things that we have is under our development standards, which is our performance standards. Currently, our performance standards are really, they're weakly, the language is weak and it's hard to enforce performance standards. So this way it gives us more teeth when we're doing code enforcement on lighting, like when we get light complaints shining in from a yard, from commercial to residential or from industrial to residential, because you do have that where you have those conflicts in zoning. So this way we can enforce stuff like that, so we can address those complaints in a way that it can actually be actionable, as opposed to just, well, you got to turn your lights off. So this is what we're trying to get at. And then, again, the major appendixes, they're not on, I'm not putting a PowerPoint on that, but Appendix A and B, that's pretty much kind of A is kind of it's a table that shows where everything's allowed in each zoning district and the type of land use. And then B is the actual land uses, it defines them. So when we come back in January, just those were, I would say, Appendix A and Appendix B are probably the major portions that should be reviewed, because we give the specific type of parking restrictions, such as like can't have a certain land use so far from residential. One of them is personal storage facilities. I believe we have it kind of at about 1,500 feet for, you can't have 2 personal storage facilities within 1,500 feet, because we don't want, while we need personal storage facilities, you don't want something like when you're driving past Eustisford on Highway 60 there, where what do you see when you go past E and 60? It's all personal storage facility units. I don't think we want that as an entrance to our city. It's just all personal storage facilities. We want a mix of different developments. So again, we're trying to be cautious in how we approach this, but we also don't want to be too restrictive to just say, no, you can't do this. But again, it's a balancing act. Please read through this, and then again, I'll send the link, but that is pretty much it for the zoning code.
Is it possible for us to get like non-reduced versions of like those 3 maps?
Yes, yeah. And again, that link will actually take you to our GIS map that we will put online once this is adopted. And then you can actually zoom in, zoom out to every property in the city.
That'd be great.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where are you looking at for, what's R7?
R7, mobile home park, we do not have any zoning districts that are R7. This is just following more of the state standards. Again, I believe R7, you need about a 10-acre parcel to even start doing this, and we don't have a 10-acre parcel in the city that could really accommodate it at this time. And they would have to go through, because we don't have an R7 zoning district currently in the city, they would have to go through the Common Council for approval.
Is there any like summary of like changes? Like, this is what was in our old zoning code, this is what's in the new one, like, or is it sort of like we should review it like from whole cloth without any sort of like?
You make a good point. I'm gonna reach out to Tim Schwecke, who's our consultant that's doing the GIS, kind of where you have that slide on a GIS map where you slide to the old and to the new so you can go back and forth. I think that would be beneficial for the community if we did that, so I'll go back to him and see if we can do that, where you kind of do that slider on GIS to show the the changes over time.
Go ahead.
I'm with Justin on this. We don't have a red line marker on the text that changed, but normally we need to edit something like that.
Yeah. Most of this, a lot of this is all completely new. Some of it is to match, our current zoning code does not match what has passed, such as Act 67 in 2017. Our conditional use process doesn't meet the standards of the state anymore.
I mean, even if there's like a article this, no changes, article this, we modified that. I mean, like, it's hard for somebody to read like a 200-page document and try and figure out like what is new, what's old, what's changed.
That's what you have attorneys for.
Yeah. Well, that's what you have consultants for, is to write you up that summary, right?
And we can do that. We have it's been a process, so we have as we've worked through it, we have the changes and stuff like that.
Now, is this something, once that you've done it, that we get out to those folks that would normally reach out to us as far as any of the developers and that, so they have this, or do we give them access to it so they know what's changing, and just make it more, what's I guess the word I'm looking for, more inviting for other folks, so that there's less confusion. Oh, this is the old, this is the new, that we would have something that we would put out after we're all done. I'm very interested to make sure that, you know, for all of the developers, that we come in with a big smiley face and very welcoming, and make it as easy as possible.
And we've been cognitive during the process with the new subdivisions coming in to maintain what they were zoned as when they started the development process. So like the one we just approved not too long ago, preliminary plat, Harvest Creek, that was MXD when it came in. We made sure that it was R8, which allows the planned mixed residential, which is what that would have been under MXD. So we've been very cautious on that. And again, we'll work with developers so that they know their land uses and make sure that that they know what they're getting into when they develop.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you prepare something for us that tells us what the differences are, you can largely, hopefully, use that externally to give them an understanding of what has changed also.
That would be good.
Yep.
Any other questions for staff? If not, we're not looking for any type of an approval. So our next item would be adjournment. For adjournment, Alderperson Savage, Alderperson Fulop.
Motion by Alderperson Savage, seconded by Alderperson Fulop to adjourn at 7:52 PM.
For adjournment, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. We stand adjourned. Thank you.